Alright everybody, today in this episode we're going to go through packing a bag for a long trip. The next one I've got coming up, I have no idea what's going to happen. We're going to be at some altitude, we could have some weather, I don't know. So this is a perfect one to go through what I bring on a trip and then also how I pack my bags. So first we're going to talk about what goes inside the bags, and then we're going to talk about how they go on the bike for optimum use. But first let's go to inside Jeff that's nice and warm and talk about that. So we'll start off with sort of the outerwear stuff, then we'll move into tools, we'll go into the camp sleeping stuff, camp cooking stuff. Let's move into it. Alright, here we go. So for outerwear, this is what I go with. I go with everything that can be packed small. I go with layers. So I go with a shell jacket. This is a Patagonia shell, maybe 150, 200 bucks. It's gonna keep the rain off, gonna keep the wind off. Not much warmth other than that. But I do bring a hoodie. So that's a multi-purpose. You can wear that around the camp, blah, blah, blah. You know how a hoodie works. I don't need to explain that. Aside from that, I bring a pair of rain pants. That will go over my pads and motocross pants. You can wear whatever you want. You know, for off-road stuff, you're gonna need some knee protection, hip protection ideally. And, you know, in the vein of protection, I wear a Liet Airfit, I think it's called, but it's really good. It's protected me on many occasions. It's got the elbows, shoulders, front and back, everything just built into it. So you just throw one thing on, and honestly, I barely feel that it's on when it's on. So yeah, that's a good one. A scarf. This is again sort of the layering aspect, and it's great around the campsite. For this trip, I'm not bringing winter gloves. It's not gonna dip that cold, I don't think. Famous last words. So I'm gonna bring just regular dirt moto gloves, and that should learn me. For boots, I've got these Forma boots, adventure boots. I don't know what they're really called. It's on my fourth pair, but they're really good. From a comfort perspective, you can walk around them, it's fine. If you go to like a pure motocross boot, they're really stiff and they're not as fun to walk around in, but lots and lots of protection. And you need protection. You really need protection. For underwear and socks and t-shirts and all that stuff, I mean, you've been dressing yourself for years, I'm hoping. So if not, just ask your mom, what do you wear and how many of them you're gonna need for your trip. But I pack everything into cubes, and that way I know, you know, what's clean, what's dirty. And then I've got a dirty bag where I just throw all my dirty laundry in, and that just grows, everything else shrinks. Now, for la pièce de résistance of hanging out and the clothing that I couldn't leave home without. Pajamas. Oh, it's what separates us from the animals. I mean, I was gonna leave this in the relaxing section, but it's too important. Pajamas are one of those things where, obviously, they're pajamas. You can wear them as pajamas, but you can also wear them as long underwear. So depending on whatever kind of pajamas you have, jam it under your pants, under your rain pants, you got an extra layer. So it's all about layering. There's nothing worse than having, you know, a big, huge, bulky jacket, and then it just takes up 3/4 of your bag for your whole trip because you might need it at one point. So if you layer, you're gonna be using the best use of space. Okay, kitchen stuff. Kitchen stuff is really important because you really want to figure out who you are, what you're gonna need. You know, are you just gonna have freeze-dried food? That's cool, but you're definitely gonna need some things for that. If you're just gonna have, you know, some hot dogs around the fire, you're gonna need some stuff for that. But I'll go a little bit further, and I like to cook some fun stuff, mostly because I spend a lot of time on the road and I like food. So let's just start off with some easy stuff. So Jetboil. All of the Jetboil stuff packs into this little thing. So you've got your gas in there, you've got the burner, you've got everything. So it's one item and it's fantastic. There's other things that all do the same thing. They're cheaper, but this is nice because it just packs up into one. Now I've got spices, I've got to clean. I've got a pack in a separate bag, as I've learned many a time. This is soy sauce, and then you've got oil, and you've got camp soap, and things like that, and mustard, because you know it's always nice to have mustard. Then I've got spices, variety of different stuff for different types of meat or veggies, whatever you're gonna do. Very important is a wine mug. Can also be used for coffee. I've got a plate that it turns into a bowl, and it's also a cutting board. So that's a pretty versatile item, sort of like the hoodie that you can wear off your bike. I've got also the Swiss Army cutlery, which is really handy. Got it on Amazon, I think it was like 10 bucks. 3-liter water bag. This is water bladder. It's got a little filter that attaches to the top, so if you're in some less than ideal situations, you can still filter. Insect repellent. Very good idea to have. Sharpener for your knives. Wine opener, very important. I like a measuring cup slash side wine cup. I've been using the AeroPress for the last little while. Got it in Panama, and it's nice. It's a lot of stuff though. So if you want to bring, instant coffee, just pour some water in there. That's cool too. But you're just gonna need coffee. That's what separates us from the animals. They drink tea. Once we're actually going to be cooking, we're going to need a grill. Now this is a Wolf and Grizzly grill. It's worked out really well for me in the past. I know you look at the ads on Instagram and it looks like it's built for hipsters that go out once a year. It is a good grill. I use it a lot. It's pretty durable. And if you ever need a replacement screw, they just send them out to you, no problem. So they're pretty good. And it's got a different levels to it, so you can put it on a different type of fire. I've got this. It is good for coals if you want to use it for that, because it provides a hard surface. I have this rigged up for having gas in it for when it's fire season. So certain areas allow you to do that, others don't. So there you go. Tongs. I get the long ones because of, fires are hot, coals are hot. Spatula, important, and it's always good to have skewers kicking around, if you want to do some skewer stuff. So that's the sort of thing. Now, this is one thing. I forgot to say frying pan. So this is I think this is a GSI frying pan. It's pretty good. They've got several different sizes, and when you're cooking or storing, you can cook with it up like that out of the fire. That's great. Then when you're storing it, you can do that. Or what I do is I just take this right off. There you go. Sister had found this thing called the Scotty Grill, and it is awesome. You can cook all sorts of stuff in it. It takes propane, it takes butane, it takes coals, wood, whatever. It's enclosed, so it's good during fire season. So that's super important. So we're gonna do a full special edition of just the Scotty Grill coming up soon. We're now at Camp Sleeping. Camp Sleeping is kind of it's a versatile one. Now, this particular trip is going to be a difficult one because I'm going to be at high elevations, not super high, but medium high, and I'm going to be in rainy conditions maybe. I could be in super hot conditions, so I want to cover all those bases. I bring in my Big Agnes tent. It's a copper spur with a hotel, which is a larger vestibule. I've got a lot of things that I like to keep dry, so having a vestibule is nice. You can just jam everything in there. It doesn't take up your sleeping space. Sleeping bag. Now, sleeping bag, it's not gonna get below freezing. So, I could bring something really, really light. It might get really warm, but when you get a really good sleeping bag, it's gonna have versatility built in. So this is really nice, even if it's hot out. You can just use it sort of as a blanket. And it also is really good for when it's really cold. That's when a good sleeping bag pays for itself. This is not packed down. This could get way smaller if I wanted it to, but you damage your sleeping bag with the smaller you pack it. So I like to keep it, well, when I'm not using it, it's out just laying around like I am. I've got a pillow because you're gonna need a pillow. I used to use just a t-shirt and jammed all my clothes into that. It totally works. But, you know, I've upgraded. I paid 30 bucks for a pillow and I never looked back. For your tent, a really good thing to have is a footprint. And what that's gonna do is gonna protect the bottom of your tent. It's gonna protect it from all the little things like sticks and rocks and porcupines and volcanoes and everything that comes from the ground. If you're gonna cowboy camp, this is gonna protect your mattress. So, well, it's gonna protect your mattress anyway, even if you're in a tent. So anyway, it's good to have. Quit hitting myself. That brings me to mattress. Now, I used to go with a really cheap one, and it was great, but it deflated. You know, it would have maybe, I don't know, like a 10 sleep lifespan, and then it was replaceable, but whatever. I got this one, and I haven't looked back. It is a Nemo Tensor Regular. That's way more expensive than I was prepared to spend, but I was in Joshua Tree, and everything's expensive there. So I paid tourist prices. But it's really, really nice. It packs pretty small. I really enjoy it because I'm not having to replace it I've said it a couple times, I'm gonna say it again. We are not animals. The air pump is what separates us from the animals. This will pump up your air mattress pretty close to full and then you just finish it off with your mouth. Your air mattress is one of the last things you do. You're already tired from doing all of the tent setting up, so it's nice to just have this, let it do its thing, you relax, couple sips of wine, you got a full mattress. So that's camp sleeping. Tools. Now, every bike is different, so I'm not gonna tell you what sizes to bring, but every bike is kind of built the same, so I can tell you what parts to bring, if that makes any sense. So here we go. So we're gonna start with chain maintenance, which is pretty easy. You're gonna have to do it probably daily if you're riding in the dirt a lot, and then if you're on the street, you know, it's 200, 300 miles, I think, 500 kilometers. And what you're gonna need for that is a stand. This stand will just pop the wheel up. It's also gonna help out, you know, if you ever are in the situation where you're gonna need to change a tire or tube. So definitely have one of those. And then you can clean it with a brush, similar to this one. And then you give it a little bit of waxing. Wax it up. Part of chain maintenance is you might have to adjust the tension, so you're gonna have to have an axle nut wrench. You might need to loosen the guides, so a couple of those. Again, the sizes are gonna matter up to your bike and whatever you've got. Another part of the chain is installing or fixing. So what I've got here is a chain breaker. So if you need to remove a link, you can always do that. And that's gonna go along with, if you go with a clip style master link, then you can just use this, and this will take on and off that master link, making it super easy. Don't just run out and do it in the woods. You know, do it at home first, make sure you figured it out, and you don't get yourself into tons of trouble, because that can happen. Tires and tubes. Okay, so you're gonna want your kind of basic patch kit. This is a big one. But you know, just get a patch kit. You're gonna probably need it if you're getting out there, especially if you're in less developed countries. There's a lot of nails on the road. If you're in the desert, you know, there's a lot of cactus spikes. It'll go through your tire like no problem. Bring a patch kit for that. No matter what, you're gonna have to take your tire off. So you are gonna need spoons. Spoons come in all different sizes. These are really short, so they're more difficult, but you can get longer ones and the leverage is a lot easier. So this axle nut tool also has a spoon on it, so this is pretty handy as well. Probably get the longer ones. This tube buddy, I think it's called, tire buddy. But that helps you put back on the tire after you're good. For pumping up your tires, I use this. It's a pretty small one. It's got a gauge on it, which is nice. I used to use just the motor itself without any bulky plastic around it. It did break down over time though. It took a while to break down, but it did break down over time. So I'm just gonna stick with it inside the plastic for now. Personally, I bring a spare rear tube and a spare front tube. That is because when you're out there, you could put in a front tube into your back tire, but Your range is limited, your speed is limited for how much it takes up. It's a gem to have the correct stuff. So as far as other things, I've got an assortment of Allen keys. I've got an assortment of Torx. I bring a big wrench, bring a ratchet for sockets. This one's got both small, big, quarter, 3/8. I've got an extender with a little attachment on the end. So I got a Leatherman as well. The Leatherman kit, there's a file and a saw, which are silly, but they still got them, and then a bunch of bits for that. That's very handy for just sort of random stuff here and there. I also bring vice grips, so these also are kind of plier-y stuffs. So that's why I got the needle nose, because they're kind of like pliers as well. Definitely very important is a flashlight. This has got a magnetic bottom, so you can put it onto your frame and use this part to work on your bike in the dark. Yay! You're gonna want Loctite. Loctite, this is the blue stuff. For some reason it comes in a red bottle, but it's the blue stuff. And the blue stuff is you're able to get your stuff off, but it's not stuck on there for good. First aid kit. This could use replacing, so probably get a new one soon, but you're gonna want a first aid kit for sure. Another thing I bring for safety, not just the first aid kit, but is a satellite messenger. This is called Find Me Spot or something to that effect. I can't remember, but it's a satellite messenger. So you pick your plan similar to a phone plan, and then you've got a certain amount of messages that you can go out. It's also got insurance, so I could get my bike out and I could get myself out in an SOS call free of charge, which is pretty nice to know that can happen. If you're like me, you've been to some remote places, just think about being there for like days at a time waiting for someone to come by. So definitely pick up something like this. Now I'm going to show you where all this stuff lays on my bike, as well as the rest of the bags, because bringing all your stuff is one thing, packing it all is another one. So I'll show you where that goes. Let's go outside. So we're gonna go with what is the quick stuff that we need right off the bat. So on the outside of the bag, I've got all my emergency screwdrivers, I've got Torx, and I've got Allen keys, things like that, zip ties, anything that's gonna get me through a quick fix. On this other side over here, I've got for my face, I've got suntan lotion and then some bags for grocery shopping. I've got two of these bags on the side, and one of them has just regular kind of, depends on what it is, could be little glovey thingies, could be toque. The other side's got first aid kit. Tank bag. So tank bag's got my Leatherman bits and tools with it. It's got flashlight, a pen for filling out stuff. It's got tape, some granola bars, things like that. It's also got my water. Everything's all packed really neatly in here. I've also got stickers, so if you see me, that's where my stickers are. Don't steal them, just ask for them. In my bar bag, I've got my Spot communication device, so it's ready to go. If I get smashed up and pinned underneath my bike, I can grab it, no problem. It's also got you know, cleaning for my cameras, cleaning for my what is it called? Wax on, wax off, wax on, wax off, shield. Now we can get into the bigger stuff. So let's go with this. So this is going to be all of my sleeping things. So anything that is tent or sleeping bag related that has to do with camping, it all goes in here. Now, because this side is really light, I put at the very bottom my spare tubes, so it gives a nice bottom heavy bag. On the other side over here, this is the camp cooking stuff. So you got your pots and pans, gas, all the things that come together that I totally forgot. My table's in there, all sorts of stuff that goes with camp cooking. So camp cooking, camp sleeping, sort of how the rest of the stuff is put together in this video. Now with the on top bags, I've got all my kind of tech stuff, because it's the most protected back here. So that's everything that to do with the channel that I have in here. So this dry spec bag that has double opening, I have in the middle, I have all my clothes, my toiletries, things like that. And then I'll have on one side that's closer, I'll have things that, maybe a hoodie, maybe a heated vest, things like that that I might need, maybe change your gloves. On the other side, because it's a little further away, downhill and less accessible, I'll have things like maybe a jacket, and I'll have a rain pants and things like that to make my it easy to get on in a pinch. All right, and then this, this is always empty unless I've got steaks or some sort of food or beer in it. And this is, I'm ready to go to camp. I've got some food. I stopped at the grocery store. That is covered. On the way out, my garbage goes in there. So it's all good. Let's move on to other stuff. Right here, this is my tent poles. This is part of the Reckless 80 kit. And this is the machete. It's got a saw on it, so I can saw up any logs that are down in the middle of the road if they're not able to be gotten over by speed and power. So this one's important. Now this is going to be my chain maintenance stuff. So I've got a axle wrench, I've got lube for the chain, I've got a stand and a brush, things like that. So it's got everything I need, so I can just quickly pop this out, go do a quick chain maintenance, and then I'm on my way. Here is my camp chair, because who knows, you might be at a rad river and you want to go swimming and you want to just hang out for a bit. You got your beers up there, camp chair right here. It's time to relax. That's what separates us from the animals. So that's essentially, what I got here. It's not the best way to pack, I'm sure. So if you have any ideas, let me know. If you really dug some stuff, or if you've got tips of what you do, definitely let me know. I'm in. This has been the culmination of good and bad ideas for years and years. So anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you had a great time. If you did, give me a little mini thumbs up or a big thumbs up or a high five. It's all the same button. And we'll be putting together more of these over the winter. So enjoy. Actually, the next stuff that's coming up is the Vernon trip, where I lost my bag. So that's not fun. But it was really fun getting there. So enjoy that. Go out there, find someone, and make them laugh.